join with you today. 50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a light of hope for millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro still lives on the lonely island of poverty in the midst of vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We cannot be satisfied as long as the basic mobility of a Negro is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We cannot be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed their dignity by signs stating, for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote, and a Negro in New York thinks he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied and will never be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, and so even though, if we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
I have a dream.
It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will too be transformed in the oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they'll not be judged by the color of their skin but by the contents of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places would be made plain, and the crooked places would be made straight. The glory of Lord shall be revealed, and all the flesh shall see it together. This is the hope and this is the faith that I'll go back to the South. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to pray together, to struggle together, to stand together, to go to jail together, knowing that we would be free one day. And so let the freedom ring. And so let the freedom ring. Let the freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. But not only that. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. Let freedom ring out there from Tennessee, from every mountainside. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when we allow this to happen, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every state, every hamlet, every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands together and sing in the words of Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank Almighty, we are free at last.
Beautiful.